There has been a request for North German recipes, and of course I can deliver because I grew up mostly in the north of Germany. And do you hear that growling? I don't know if my microphone is picking this up. It's a thunderstorm outside. I hope I will keep the electricity. Let's hope for the best. So back to the recipe. This recipe is mostly enjoyed in Hamburg and other areas of North Germany, but in Hamburg we call it Birnen, Bohnen und Speck. And that means Birnen, Bohnen and Speck. We just, we leave some of the letters out, just like the English do sometimes. And the translation is pears, beans and bacon. So this is what we're going to do today. It's a hearty recipe with a little bit of a sweet ingredient in form of the pears. So here's what you need. You need a little bit of flour, pears, bacon, and this is a thick cut. In Germany, we usually can buy our bacon in a whole piece and, cut it ourselves. I don't get this here, so I had to take some thick sliced bacon. This will work just as fine. It will just reduce the boiling time of it a little bit. Then I have some French beans, potatoes. I'm going easy on the potatoes because it's just the three of us here and we don't eat that much and we still have plenty here. Then I need some water, some pepper and salt. So then there's one ingredient that I did not get here. I don't think you can usually find it in the US. It's called Bohnenkraut and the translation seems to be savory. So what I use instead is thyme. Thyme has a very similar taste to Bohnenkraut, so this will be a good substitute. This is crucial for the taste of this meal, so don't leave it out. You really need it, and it's best if you use it as fresh stems. The first thing I want to do is to cut the bacon. I could leave it in this size, but since it's already sliced, I'm starting to just put it into smaller sections. So I'm cutting this into thirds. Then I pour water into a pot. I add a bay leaf. You can leave this out. This is just, the thing that I'm doing. It's not necessarily something you have to put in there. But then I put in the bacon. And if you have a whole piece of bacon, you will have to boil this much longer than I will. This will have to boil like about 5 minutes until I continue with my recipe. So this goes onto the stove and I bring it to a boil. Next thing to do is to prepare the beans. And I have this memory of my grandmother harvesting the beans in our garden and then sitting outside on a chair in summer, and then she would just sit there and cut the end pieces off like this, and she would call this Bohnenschnippeln, and that is very North German to say it like that. So this is what I used to do in the past, but now I know better, and I know that I can just use a bunch of beans and just line them up like this. And then just cut this off, turn it around, line it off again, like this. And just cut a bunch. But I still like the idea of sitting outside on a chair and schnibbling Bohnen. Okay, so I will continue to do that. So once I'm done with the beans, I'm starting to prepare the potatoes. And as I said, you can use a lot more potatoes than I do. And I cut these in smaller pieces. And the knife I'm using is the Nakano or Nakano. I would say Nakano, but I'm German. I guess it's Nakano, since it's from Japan. Nakano knife? Probably. So I have a link to this knife in the video description down there, where you can also find a code for reduced price for this knife, which is quite sharp. It's a professional chef's knife and I absolutely love using it. Everything cuts like butter with it. Okay, so put those in here. And then the pears. So about the pears. In Germany we have something that is called Kochbirnen, cooking pears, and they are much smaller and they are very firm. I can't get this here, so that's not a big problem. I just want to tell you, if you are in or around Germany, you will get these smaller pears and you can just use them in whole, boil them in this meal in whole. Just remove this little part on the bottom for that, and then you can just boil them with the rest of the meal. In this case, since I don't have that, I will just cut the pears into quarters and remove the inner part. And then I will be using this like this. And I'm just using 2 of the pears because one of them I bought just for the picture later. But you can use as many pears as there are persons on your table. So you can see this is boiling quite nicely. The amount of water you're using depends a little bit on your preference. I prefer to use less water and not make it into a soup. Some people prefer to use a lot of water. I'm using like a little more than half a liter, and you can always add more if you want to. So I'm adding the beans and create some sort of layer here, and then I'm adding the potatoes just on top of that. And next, the pears. And I'm also adding this thyme for a wonderful taste. Okay. The lid goes back on here, and I boil this for about 20 minutes. So this has boiled now for, I gave it a little more than 20 minutes. So now I'm trying to find out how much salt I need to add. As you can imagine, the bacon already has a good amount of salt, so I'll be rather careful adding some. Doesn't need much, but I'm also adding a bit of pepper. And then I'm moving this a little bit to side. So I can stir it a little bit. Okay. Now I'm using the flour. I'll start with just some of it. And I'm adding a bit of water to it. You don't want to turn this into a pudding or something. It really needs to be still somewhat liquid. Okay, and I give this a few more minutes to boil, and then it is finished. Check the taste one more time. Wonderful. Now let's look how it turned out. I have to carefully open the lid so that the camera up here is not getting all the steam. So this is the finished meal. So the whole flavor of the bacon is in here, mixed with the thyme, the sweet pears, and with the beans. This is a delicious meal. When I told my husband this is the video for today, he was, yes, I haven't eaten that in quite a while, and he's very much looking forward to it. So I will make some pictures now, and this will be our lunch. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. Please watch some more of my videos. There are plenty of recipes.